Hello, and this is a short video about the 5 most traumatic events that have happened so far in my life, in chronological order. They're not that traumatic, at least it would seem that way, because they're more about things that did not happen rather than things that have happened. Most of them are, which I've learned can be just as damaging or even more damaging than things that have happened. Okay, so the first one happened at about 3 years old. It's probably the first traumatic memory that I remember. So it was an experience of being pushed away by my mother, energetically, which I remember it vividly. I can see the scene. So I'm not exactly sure what I made that mean, but it's definitely colored the rest of my life. I can be pretty confident in saying that. It's also affected my interactions and relationship with women in general. It's definitely made me believe that masculinity or men are bad, even though it was just a very short and unnoticeable trauma. Like, you probably wouldn't even have realized that anything happened if you saw it. So that's one of those turning points, I believe. Okay, the second one is at 6 years old, when my parents got divorced, and I have basically only lived with my mother since then, up until I was 22, I think, when I moved out. So from 6 to 22. And I still had a relationship with my dad, but I did not see him very much, and he has always been very emotionally distant anyway, so... And remember, I also had a distant relationship with my mother the entire time. So, emotionally. So I felt like I had been abandoned by both of my parents at this point. And yeah, that has been the case for the remainder of my life. The third trauma, which has been a theme throughout my entire life, not a specific age, is emotional neglect, which is essentially a lack of emotional connection, a lack of closeness, a lack of being seen, understood, heard, felt, being close to other people. I mean, especially my parents, but everyone. I mean, you can call this a type of emotional starvation, or a starvation of love and connection. So that is not to a specific age, but I'll just put it in the middle because it's been a recurring theme throughout my entire life. Number 4 is isolation in general. We've always lived outside of the city, or not. Well, we had a few short periods right after the divorce where we lived in the city, but almost always we've lived outside the city, so it was always difficult for me to make time or find time to hang out with other people than my immediate family. And I've always felt very isolated, especially a few years around maybe 8 or 9 through 10 years old, or maybe 11. There were some like really genuinely lonely times where I was just by myself. which a 10-year-old is not supposed to be alone for long periods of time. And yeah, I mean, but isolation has been a theme throughout my entire life, but those were a few specific years, around 8 to maybe 10 or 11, where I was physically isolated as well. Not all the time, of course, but long periods of time. At 15, I had a very close connection to a best friend of mine, and losing that relationship was kind of a re-traumatization and a re-experience of being abandoned by my parents. It affected me extremely strongly and led me down the spiritual path. I realized that relationships weren't working for me. I wasn't getting the connection I needed. I wasn't meeting my needs in general for love and all the other emotional and relational needs that humans have. So I found spirituality, fortunately, and self-help and awareness. So yeah, six, which happened right after that age, was me realizing that I'm on a different path to the rest of my family and the rest of society. So since about 15, I have been distancing myself further and further from society and my family, ultimately deciding to move to a different country to specifically avoid my family and clear my old patterns, clear my mind of old beliefs and old ways of to think and do things. So I wanted a clean slate so I could start a new, healthier life. That has been a process of mine since I've been 15 and I'm now 26. So those are my main traumas that have colored my life. I don't feel like I fit into society. I don't feel like I belong with my family, and I have experienced a very deep sense of loneliness and lack of connection to everyone around me. So my main desire for a long time has been to find a new family, a true family, if you will, or soul family. And yeah, I'm pursuing that, pursuing health and alignment and self-actualization. Thank you very much.